Hello and welcome back to Core. We will be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is after Robert had a little mini freakout from hearing what he believes to have been his deceased boyfriend's tone and, coming through the headphones. Um, and afterwards, Mike sort of blew up on him because he said that he just couldn't deal with Robert going through the whole thing again, the whole Jacob thing. And I guess there was more to that than just, like, oh no, here we go again. It's more like, you can't just keep bringing up my dead friend who you were dating, obviously, but still. Um, so Hector did step up, and thankfully he was comforting Robert a little, but yeah, there's he still has to speak to Mike and also Gus, because Gus looked a little taken aback by what was happening. So yeah, mm, well, let's continue and see what happens. We continue hugging for a bit longer, but at some point I see Ed and Gus standing close to us, not sure how to react. Gus looks distant, as if his head is somewhere else right now, and I totally understand that. I need to talk to him later. Ed just looks worried, unsure on what to do. So, even if I still have tears on my face, I smile at him. It'll be fine. I definitely have work to do on myself, but it'll be fine. He smiles too, still worried, but I can tell he feels relieved to see me smiling. I'm sorry I reacted like that, but I'm still here. I'm really glad to hear that. Do you know what happened? I really don't. What I heard shouldn't be possible. I can't hear the tone of dead people. It shouldn't be possible, but I heard it. Whatever the case, I shake my head, letting go of Hector and cleaning my tears from my face. No, and I don't really think I'll find out. But I'm okay with that. A dumb idea comes to my mind. This miracle cave thing. Maybe it has something to do with it. I don't know why, but it's there. Whatever the case, I heard what I heard. And I'm moving on. What a tasteless miracle, though. I turn around as soon as I hear footsteps, and I expect to see Faust and Mike, but it's only the crocodile. My smile fades when I don't see the lion there. I was hoping he'd be here. He'll be fine, but he's decided to wait for us at the bus station. I don't like that, and I have to talk with Mike later too. I haven't seen him distance himself from anyone before. Then let's go. Faust looks at me concerned, but his expression relaxes when he sees me nodding and smiling a bit. I have some strength left for them. All right. Faust leads the way, and even if I'm feeling calmer than before, I can tell things are still awkward between all of us. The silence accompanying us is not comforting, but almost forced, as if everyone's scared of interacting again. During our way back, I noticed Gus is staying behind. I wanted a chance to talk with him, so I slow down my pace, letting him catch up to me. He looks at me for a moment before moving his sight back to the ground. I don't really know how to approach him. So, I don't say anything, but I make sure I stay by his side. I think something is on his mind, and I don't want to force him to talk. I'm really sorry, Rob. Seems to work because he speaks up shortly after. I had no idea. I wouldn't have said what I said otherwise. I just thought... It's alright. You couldn't have known. I mean, no one was going to tell you. I think everyone thought that if someone had to tell you, it should be me, and I've been actively trying not to think about him. Not even his name. You simply couldn't have known, so don't feel guilty about it. But I do. I brought you here. I don't know if this would have happened otherwise, but I brought you here and it happened. That's not alright. I don't want him to think like that. I reach for his hand carefully, making sure he can reject it if he wants. He doesn't, looking at me instead, surprised, but with a guilty look. Stop that, please. You couldn't have known and no one is blaming you. But I made you cry, and... My hand tightens a grip with his, making him stop walking so he can look at me again. So what? I'm still here. I thought I was handling things, but all it took was for me to think I hurt him to realize I'm not. I think I would have felt like this at some point, and even if it's selfish, I'm glad it happened when all of you were here. I'm not sure how it would have affected me if I was alone when it happened. He doesn't respond, still looking at the ground. I'm not fully getting through his skull. But Mike is also... and your friends? Our friends, Gus. Come on, you can remember that I like chocolate, but you can't remember that we're all your friends too? I smile a bit as I say that, and I see it has an effect on Gus, who tries to hold back a chuckle. I think he's still feeling overwhelmed, so I pull him closer for a hug. Mike will be fine, and so will I. All of us will be fine. We're just dealing with a complicated situation. All of us, not just me. Part of me tries to feel entitled about being the one who should feel the saddest about this. But honestly, fuck that part. That's not what's important. I'll talk with Mike personally. Just know that all of us are fighting to move forward, so please believe in us. Gus hugs me back tightly, and I can feel in his inner tone that he'll believe in me. I still feel a hint of guilt, but that's something he'll have to work on himself. All I can do is prove that I'll still be here. I do. It's just, I'm scared of hurting y'all. I'm so happy to see you two again, and our friends. I don't want to fuck that up. I'm scared of losing y'all again. I step back a bit, letting go of Gus, just so that I can hold his hand, determined to never make him feel like that again. That will never happen. I'm going to do my best to make sure that we're together for as long as we can. I promised you yesterday, Gus, we're not going to leave you alone again. He looks down again, unsure if he can believe me, probably. But I'm glad to see that he chooses to do so as he looks back at me with a small smile on his face. You're right. Sorry. I believe you, Rob. Good. But I don't care if you believe me or not. I'm still proving my words. His smile brightens a bit more after hearing that, and I'm glad to see this moment we had because of me probably won't affect us as much as I thought. Or will it? We finally reach the end of the path, back to the small village, and it doesn't take us too long to see Mike standing against the wall near a bus station. I wave my hand at him, trying to smile softly like I did with the others to let him know that I'm doing better. But he turns his head away, not looking at any of us. And the oppressive silence comes back. Maybe I tried to fix things too fast with him. The others walk towards the bus stop, but I decide to carefully approach Mike instead. He doesn't move away or tell me to stop, so I guess that's good. However, I do keep my distance, resting my back on the same wall. Hey, big guy. He doesn't respond and it hurts. I was hoping I didn't hurt him this much, but now, I'm worried I have. I'm sorry that happened. I'm sorry I wasn't thinking about how you felt about it. It just happened. Again, no response. Come on, please talk to me, Mike. Are you back to normal again? What? That... I didn't like the tone of that. Sounded almost aggressive. I'm glad to see you're doing better. I just wish you hadn't said that about Jacob. I can't pretend that... I can't pretend you're hearing him as if he's still alive either, Robert. What the fuck? That's so not fair. Why is he this angry with me? I can't. We can't go back to that moment. I can't afford it. I can't get stabbed every time you get depressed to heal it. What the fuck are you talking about? My voice raises, and I know the others heard me, but I don't give a shit. That's so stupid. Are you saying that was on purpose? You moron? No, it wasn't, but it worked. Is this what you meant when you said that you were proud of getting stabbed? Are you really that fucking stupid? I don't know. Stop fucking yelling at me! He turns to look at me, and I can tell he's holding back. This was a really fucking bad idea. Listen, I'm sorry. I really am. But I'm fucking angry right now. I say stupid shit when I'm angry, so just leave me alone, Robert. I just can't pretend I did... Robert. Faust gets my attention, and I see a concerned yet stern look on his face. He really wants me to stop. I look at the others and none of them are looking at us. Their ears are lowered, and I realize that I'm not fixing anything like this. I take another look at Mike, and he turns around again to not look at me. Whatever. I didn't think he'd be the one I wouldn't be able to talk to, but here we fucking are. Well, I fucked up the good ambience I was building. The bus comes, and we all sit separately. We all probably need our own time after this. I don't know how to feel right now. I think I feel nothing because I felt too much in a short time. I'm just numb, staring at the window, letting time pass. Whatever happened before now doesn't matter. None of it anymore. I just wish I could go home, but even home is empty now. We all step out of the bus, still not talking, and we continue to stay in silence while it drives away. Funny, I feel so numb that I wasn't even scared like before. I guess I really don't care about things right now. So, I guess I'll be going home now. Right, Gus doesn't stay with us. I'm sorry, buddy. I just don't have the energy to handle that right now. Alright, I'll message you later, okay? Thank you. Yeah. Bye. I wave my hand, feeling apathetic right. No. No! We're not ending things this way! I look at Hector, who now looks royally pissed, and he's looking at me and Mike. I refuse to just go home like this. This sucks! Hector, now's not. I don't care. It will never be the time. You idiots are letting this moment affect the whole trip. We're not going to be like this forever, Hector. Come on. I know you won't, and that's fine. But look at Gus. Have you not paid attention? Do you think he's going to call again after this? Seeing Hector like this is getting me fired up again, and I'm not sure if it's for the best. Why is he so angry now? This isn't about Gus or him, so why? I didn't come to this trip for this. We came here to disconnect together, to bond and have a nice vacation. Today was a fantastic day. I went to an impressive cave with some really good friends. Yes, Gus, you too. And it was amazing. And Faust took pictures, and we chilled on our own, and we had lunch together. And yes, something bad happened before, but we were handling it like adults. So why can't we end this day like adults? Why are you two acting like children? Right. Now I'm the bad one in the story too. Well, yes, you're being an asshole right now. We all heard what you said before. I know you're pissed off, but come on. And Robert, for trying to be a psychologist, that was some fine job you did. Patients will love it when you scream at them when something doesn't work. What's your problem? My problem is that no one's talking about the problem, and we're letting it slide, and it's hurting us. That's my problem. He breathes heavily and tries to calm down, realizing he's been yelling for some time. People are starting to look at us. I'll stop yelling, sorry. But I needed to get through to you two. Remember why we came here. First of all, we all needed a break. It's been a really shitty time since the accident, and things were getting better very recently. But we also have our own reasons to be here. I wanted to escape from my stupid parents, who don't think I'm old enough to make my own choices. We all decided to visit Core so that we could recharge our batteries, figure ourselves out, and just have fun, right? So why are you all giving up on that over one dumb argument? Let's talk things like the adults we are. No one really replies, but not because we don't care. We're just speechless, I guess. He's not wrong. I didn't need to force things out so that they would be fixed right now. That's my main problem. I'm trying to feel better immediately, and when things don't work out, I explode. It happened when I found out about Faust smoking, and it happened with Mike now. Of course, Mike is angry and saying stupid shit. So was I. I should have given him time like he wanted. Can I ask you all for a favor, please? Sure. Let me have a talk in private with Robert and Mike. Wait for us at the beach house. You too, Gus. Me too? Of course, you're part of us, so do this for us. Or me, please. Alright, I can do that. I guess it's fair. Are you two okay with that? Yes, I guess it's the least I can do after today. And you, Mike? He doesn't respond immediately, but he ends up nodding, looking down at his feet. Okay, I'm more calm after the bus trip after all.
Great. Thank you. Everyone? Really. We'll be back in a bit.
He holds both Mike's hand and mine and pulls us in his direction, taking us somewhere else. I don't even get to see if the others are really going back to the beach house, but my guess is that they are. We soon realize that he's taking us to the beach too, but to the opposite side. I guess he wants us to be isolated from everyone else so that we don't scare people like we did just a moment ago. Hector almost trips when we reach the sand due to how difficult it is to walk on it, and I can't help but chuckle at that, and I hear Mike doing the same. I don't dare to look at him right now, but it's nice. Eventually, he decides that that's far enough and lets us go, turning around to look at us.
Alright. First of all, thanks for listening to me and coming here, even if I kind of dragged you to.
Kind of.
Details. I had verbal consent, but back to business. Mike, I think we need to know what you meant with what you said before.
I told you. I was angry, so I just said some bullshit that isn't true.
But it comes from somewhere. Why did you think that?
I feel like Hector and I have switched places, and he's being the psychologist right now. When did he become so observant? I never noticed. Not this much. But he has a point. I don't think it'll stop bothering me if I don't understand what Mike meant with that. I need to know too. I'm not trying to guilt trip you, but it hurt me because I felt guilty for what happened. Like, I know I was depressed and that I should have moved back then, but. Robert, that was really bad back then. I'm sorry, but I hated to see you so apathetic. After the car accident, I was so glad to know that you woke up from the coma. We didn't know when. If you were going to wake up.
I told him too before. I was really glad to know that he was back.
But he wasn't really back. We all noticed. You were distant. You didn't want to meet anyone. It took Faust and I a few months to get you out of your apartment. I don't blame you, of course, but while we were trying to process what happened, you just sunk in even more, and I hated seeing you like that. So, when you told me that you were going to hang out with me, I was so happy. But you didn't change. You were so sad, it hurt to see you. I'm sorry. You don't have to be. I guess there was nothing you could do. But then, when we went to that bar...
You got mugged, right? I never really heard the whole story.
When we were heading back, yes, a couple of drunk assholes tried to mug us and... Mike sighs, looking at me, and I know he wants me to talk now. It's only fair. He's trying to explain how he felt, so I should do the same. They tried to give them their money, but I didn't even move. I know I should have, but I didn't have the energy. I was so tired of everything. When I felt him threatening me with his knife, I don't continue. I think they know where I'm going with that. Back then, I thought maybe that was my chance to see Jacob again. I hated that. I hated that moment, and I hated you when I realized what was happening. So I snapped, and I punched them. I beat them up until they ran away. Fuck anyone who tries to hurt my friends. He screams those lines, and now I get why Hector wanted us to be at the beach. The waves and the distance from other people would make this easier. Of course, one of them stabbed me before I could send them home, but I didn't even notice. I noticed first. Yes, and it's horrible, I know. I scared all of you, but at that moment, I was happy. I was happy because I saw you scared, Robert. You reacted to something, and from that point on, I saw the ferret I care so much about coming back to us. So, yes, maybe it's stupid, but I would die for any of you, gladly, and I would do it again if it meant saving any of you. That's what I meant.
I see. You probably said it differently because you were mad, but I understand.
Only Faust has seen me angry like that, and I can't hold back those thoughts. I'd rather let time pass on my own, and deal with them without hurting anyone. I'm sorry if what I said was stupid. I'm sorry I felt like that. But I really care about you, Robert, and I got scared. I thought you go back to hurting too, being apathetic. I didn't want you to die in that car crash again. Fuck, I'm such an idiot. I really should have handled things better before. I promise I'll never go back to that, Mike. I promised Hector before too. And I hate to say this, but you were right. When I saw your wound, I thought you were going to die too. And I really got scared that I was going to lose you too, and suddenly everything came back at once. I was scared I was going to lose you because of me, that I was going to be even more alone. It made me realize that I couldn't be like that anymore, that I didn't want to, and that Jacob probably wouldn't want that for me either. Jacob would love how you are now, Robert. You and I have known him for a very long time, and Mike sits on the sand, leaning back so that he can rest his weight on his hands and spread his legs, looking at the clouds above us. I decide to do the same, hugging my legs instead. I don't know about Hector, but I think he's giving us space to talk now. Fuck. He was a fantastic guy. He was the best. I miss him so much, Mike. Me too. He really saw the bright side of everything. You two looked a lot like each other in that aspect. He just wasn't as bombastic about it like you are. I know. He always believed in all of us, especially you. You should have heard him when he talked about you. I'm tearing up again, but I don't fight it this time. I thought I cried enough in the past, but maybe you never cry all you need to cry. I have no doubt in my mind that he'd be so proud of who you are now, Robert, and who you're becoming. You're a great friend, and we all want you to be happy. You're making me cry. Shut up. That's fine. I'm crying too. Come here. His arms reach for me and pull me closer, and I can't stop myself from hugging him back, holding him tight. I always knew Mike and I were the ones who were hit the hardest by what happened to Jacob, but we never talked about it before. We just let it slide and moved on, but I guess we never really moved on. Maybe this stupid miracle business needed to happen. Maybe it's okay to not feel alright all the time. It's okay to hurt when it hurts, and it's okay to feel when it feels. As long as we look up again, and we keep going, as long as we're together. It takes us a while to calm down enough to breathe easy again, but we do. Ironically, I don't see the person who made us talk things through around us. We see him in the distance, sitting on a stone, checking his phone or something. I guess he decided to give us some time to talk alone. After Mike and I recover and stand up, we head in his direction, and he smiles at us when he sees us. Hey, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, so We know, it's okay. Thank you, Hector. I guess it wasn't easy to do what you just did, but... It wasn't. All I could think about was how much more I was fucking things up. I get that. I'm not sure I would have done this if I was in your position, but I think we needed to talk about it. At least, I needed it. Make sure to not keep those thoughts in your head. We're here to listen and help. I'm sure you do the same for us. Of course, it's just hard. I didn't even notice I was trying to not think about Jacob. Even saying his name like that feels like a struggle. I'm tired of crying, but I still feel that sensation when I say it. I guess I still need some more time to recover, sorry. Don't apologize for that. It's not like there's a time limit to how much, Hector stops himself from saying grieving, probably looking for a more delicate way to say it. I appreciate it, but it doesn't change much in reality. You know what I mean. My point is, we'll still be here. All of us. Even if we're all going through the same things, we're still together. Mike's hand squeezes my shoulder, reinforcing his words with that, but I can tell his inner tone sounds a bit somber. I guess we both need to think about things after we're done for today. Thank you. I mean it. Thanks for talking with me about this today, Mike. And thanks for making us talk, Hector. Don't get too used to it. It was really hard. I feel like I need to sleep for 10 days. You would miss the rest of the holiday. Mike chuckles, and we do the same. But it's obvious we're all tired from today. We're talking, but it doesn't fully feel like it's us talking. Uh, and as for what happened before, with that, you heard, and all that. He sounds hurt as he says that, as if he's not ready to approach the subject yet, but he probably wants to give it some kind of closure. I don't know what happened, but I know you wouldn't make that up, so let's make some peace with that if we can. I understand that, and while part of me wants to know exactly why I heard what I heard, every part of my body screams for me to let it go. Whatever happened, it stays there. The important things are the people I have in front of me and my relationship with them. I agree. I can't promise I won't think about it, but I agree. Same. I have my own processing to do later. I think that's going to be all of us. Anyway, let's head back to the beach house. I'm sure the others must be really worried about us. Right. I completely forgot. We still have to get through the rest of the evening, huh? Tell me about it. Our way back to the beach house is mostly silent, but in a good way. It's not like we don't want to talk anymore, and more like we already said all we had to say. It's tough and it feels heavy, but also comforting in a very odd way. Part of me feels like I should feel guilty for being glad to admit that Jacob is not here anymore, but I think I need to. No one can pretend forever, I guess. When we get back, we're immediately greeted by Ed and Gus speaking in the kitchen, but they turn to look at us the moment they hear us. They don't say anything, not sure of how things went, probably wondering if Mike and I are still talking or if things got worse. It's alright, we talked things through. Hector really helped. Ah, that's very good to hear, right? Ed smiles in an awkward way, looking at Gus, who just nods, not really looking at us. I can tell something's bothering him, and no wonder. Where's Faust? In the bedroom here. He said he was going to check his phone. I see. I'll go check in on him, if you don't mind, okay? Do what you have to do. Mike ruffles my hair and Hector's wool before he goes to check on Faust, probably to let us know he's fine. Tired, but fine. So, if we're all good, I think I'm going to take a shower. Is everyone okay with that? I kind of expect a quirky comment from someone, like, why wouldn't that be okay? But no one really replies. Hector nods, and so do I. But Gus, again, he doesn't react. Ed gives him a worried look before walking next to Hector, hugging him, and he returns it, before giving me one too. Of course, my arms wrap around my friend, who I can now tell is just as exhausted as all of us. If you can, try to talk with Gus. Sorry. There's no need to apologize for that, since I was planning to do that after seeing him like this. I pat his back as an answer, so we literally don't whisper in front of Gus. He lets me go, then waves his hand as he walks up to the bedroom upstairs. And He looks at me and then at Gus, and realizes he doesn't really have to give any excuse, so he just leaves for the couch. So now I'm alone with Gus, and while I knew he would talk to me first before, I don't feel like that's going to be the case now since he hasn't opened his mouth yet. I open my mouth a couple of times, about to say something, and then I don't because it feels very forced. But, fuck it, so was Hector before. Can we talk outside? He takes a few seconds to respond, almost as if he's thinking about it, before nodding, and I sigh. It's hard to see Gus like this. He already had some pretty big insecurities before, so I guess this really didn't help. I need to make sure he knows we're still here for him too. By now, the sun's almost set, and it's getting pretty dark, but the light from the beach house lets us see enough to not trip anywhere. I step down the stairs until I reach the sand, and then I sit on said stairs, waiting for Gus to join me. He does a few seconds later. I'm glad. I was afraid he'd stay at the door. So, how do I do this? I don't even know what to say exactly. He started the conversation before, but now? Well, here goes nothing. I'm sorry for today, Gus. No immediate reply, which I guess is what I expected. I told you before, I don't want you to feel guilty about this, but
If I know something about feelings, it's that you can't really control them. But I don't want you to punish yourself for thinking that this is your fault or something. Please. It's really not. And I'm sorry that I didn't tell you sooner. Don't apologize for that. It's normal. I get that. Really. Again, some silence. But I can tell that he's trying to think of his next words instead of just ending it there. It's just so much to process. Many things making sense now, and I. His head drops, staring at his legs, as if the weight of his thoughts were too much for him. I feel like a jackass. I don't think you're a jackass. You haven't done anything wrong. But I have, Rob. You come here hoping that you can feel better, then I bring you to this stupid cave and you fight with Mike and. His voice cracks for a moment, holding back tears, so I lean closer to him, wrapping my arm around him. He immediately rests his head on my shoulder. I never wanted this. I'm sorry. It's not your fault. I sigh, still going in circles with this. One apologizes, then the next one does that too. I want to apologize to him for making him feel like this. Jacob is dead. Now my voice cracks, and I take a second to continue. I don't want to stop here. It's something that happened, and I was pretending it didn't happen. If I didn't think or talk about it, maybe he'd be waiting for me when I head back. But he wouldn't be there, and at some point, these days in course would be over, and we'd travel back together. I would have laughed. I would have had fun, but I'd have to go back to my apartment and face that fact, and I would have done that alone. So, maybe, as fucked up as it is, maybe this was for the best, because I had my friends next to me to remind me that I'm not alone. It could have been better, obviously. I hear a small chuckle from his part, followed by a soft, no shit. And that makes me smile. I think my friend is coming back little by little. And I guess I want to make sure that you know that you're also not alone. I know those thoughts that you have are terrible and very convincing. But we're here to remind you that they're not true. That you haven't ruined anything. We're adults. We talk things through, and we'll figure things out. And we're not going to leave you alone here ever again. As I said yesterday, I'll make sure you believe me when it happens. At some point while I was talking, he started to cry, since I can feel my shoulder wet, and he holds one of my arms tighter when I stop talking. I don't fight it, giving him the time that he needs to process all this. I didn't know about the accident or... Ed told me that you were in a coma for a week and I drove you around like it was nothing. I didn't stop you. I wanted to try. I don't want to be scared forever. And then I talk about guys that we like and I make you talk about Jacob and... I had to open up at some point. This is not your fault, Gus. I know, I just feel so bad. I try to slide a bit closer to him, nuzzling his head, reminding him that I'm still here with him. That's all right. You'll feel better soon. We all will. The conversation ends there, but I can tell Gus will get through this. He's a strong guy, and I believe in him. We're here for him. The sound of the waves is almost the only thing that we can hear for a couple of minutes, other than our own breathing. After he calms down, he lets me know that he's ready to go back inside, so I follow him in. As expected, only Hector is on the couch, who leans forward to look at us. I smile at him and I catch a glimpse of Gus nodding to him too. Hector smiles back in response, getting up to chat with us, acting casual, probably trying to maintain some normality, since we didn't have a lot of that today. How's the night feeling? Cold? Not so much as a few days ago. We might be able to go to the beach soon, right? I look over at Gus, who confirms that, and also to check if he's feeling up to replying. Yeah, heard it'd be safe to swim again in a couple of days. Safe to swim? How cold is the water? Well, it's not dangerous per se, but we have a few cases of people having to go to the doctor because of how cold it was after a while. Robert, you never told me about this death trap. How should I know? It's been a long time since I was there. Gus giggles, and that manages to diffuse some of the tension that's been surrounding us for most of the day. I can feel my shoulders relaxing and Hector's giggling too. Well, I'd like to say goodbye to everyone, but I don't want to bother him. You're not a bother, but I understand. It's night already, and you have to walk a bit from here. I'm assuming you don't want to stay here, right? Just in case? I appreciate the offer. Like any other day, I might accept it, but I get it. We all need some good rest. Don't worry. Same here. I might try to sleep on the couch once Gus is gone, honestly. Got it. I'll make sure the others know so that we don't bother you then. Thank you, Hector. I'm glad he has enough energy himself to handle the situation for me. Alright, guess I'll head back for now. Don't want to distract anyone any longer. Ah, wait! Before Gus can turn the door, Hector stops him, looking slightly worried. I just wanted to make sure, but we'll see you soon, right? Gus stares at him, confused for a moment, but soon understands. I guess Hector was still worried that he'd cause such a negative reaction to where he'd not want to come back. Absolutely. I need some time for myself, but you'll have me poking around soon enough. Great. In that case, take your time. We'll be here. Thanks for sure. I'll send you a text tomorrow to see how you're doing, okay? Appreciate it. I'll take my leave then. He smiles kindly as he says that, and I can tell he's sincere because of his inner tone. If anything, it's a bit slower than usual. He's just tired. Hector waves his hand and I accompany Gus to the door, although I don't hug him this time. I really want to, but... Well, we've done enough talking for today. At some point, we have to let things go. I'll go tell the others, so you can get ready to sleep. I close the door once I don't see Gus in the distance, turning around to face Hector. Thank you. For everything, okay? He smiles and nods, not wanting to get to it again. Probably for the best. He raises his fist and I bump it. Then he walks into the bedroom, probably to tell Mike and Faust what's up. He's really grown up a lot. I don't know how things would have turned out today without his many interventions. I get into my pajamas, grab the covers, and lay down on the couch. My eyes close soon after. And, at some point, the lights turn off. I'm assuming Hector turned it off once he was done telling everyone. Good. I don't have the energy to stand up again right now. I'm afraid of falling asleep. I'm trying not to think about it, but those thoughts are lurking. I hug my pillow, trying not to think. I'm scared of dreaming about him again. It hurts to wake up like that. But I have to face it. I can't be scared all the time. I try to relax my body and I welcome whatever's coming. Whatever has to happen can happen, even if it hurts, even if it means Jacob is gone forever. I'm tired of pretending and running away. It's painful and it's scary, but no more. My friends will help me if I need it. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. To be continued. Wow, that was a very loaded episode. I wasn't expecting there to be such a emotional, uh, all that going on basically. But it's kind of nice that they're finally addressing all these uh things, especially knowing, yes, Jacob was the boyfriend. We know obviously Jacob was a boyfriend and that Mike was friends and stuff like that. That obviously there was a deeper connection with the two of them with this Jacob person. But it's now nice to see that it's all out in the open, or kind of that, like how they're all feeling, and that it wasn't just like, oh, it affected me, Robert, because I was his boyfriend, and it affected Mike because he was a friend. It was a whole group thing that it affected everyone. Um, but yeah, who knows? Maybe I have a weird feeling that perhaps, how Robert touched the water and then he touched the headphones. Maybe the water does have some sort of miracle properties that caused um Robert to hear the tone, and which elicited the whole like conversation about Jacob, but like not in a malicious way, sort of like in a, this needs to happen, you guys, so let's force the conversation. But yeah. Or perhaps when Robert is genuinely happy and content, he hears the tone. and that tone happens to be the tone that belongs to Jacob. So perhaps at that moment where he was happy, being with the group, they went to the miracle cave and everything, he was happy and he heard the tone, which he would often hear with his boyfriend because he is happy. And perhaps it is not actually Jacob's tone, perhaps it's actually his own tone. Maybe that's the thing. And he just associated it with Jacob because, I'm with my boyfriend and I'm happy and I'm content and I'm hearing it. And he just never realized that it wasn't actually Jacob's tone, that it was actually his own. So you never know. Hmm? Hmm? And since he's been depressed this entire time, then that's why he just never heard it. But who knows? I guess we'll find out eventually, maybe, or maybe it was just a remnant, like a memory of Jacob. But yeah, I guess future updates will tell. um, I I could maybe ask the dev, the writer, see if he says anything. Um, but anyways, so what do you guys think, huh? Um, I also like the fact that it touched on the fact, well, touched a little on the depression aspect of what Robert was going through, and it's I don't know if any of you have uh felt depressed or felt something similar to it, but I can tell you that I have, and it does feel like that. It almost feels like the world just turns gray, and like it's just really hard to feel or do anything. It isn't just like, oh, I'm depressed, so I'm just gonna lay in bed all day. It you can be functioning, but at the same time, everything just it's like on autopilot. Like, mm, it's not often how you see it on TV, especially for like those commercials for like the antidepressants and anti-anxiety pills and stuff like that. So sometimes you can be functioning and everybody looks at you. It's like, oh, he's not depressed, but you really are because it's all inside. It's in your head, but not in a like, oh, it's just in your head. It's um, it's very difficult to explain it. Like this thing is glitching. Um, but yeah. Oh, there we go. But yeah. Mm, I don't know. I just really liked how it was portrayed. So I'm thankful for that, I guess. um what else to say? Well, I liked this update, this episode. Um I really liked how it progressed and how the issue of Jacob was um brought about or dealt with, I guess. And the fact that it wasn't just an issue with Robert, like they all felt it, especially Mike. And but yeah, especially with this past year and all the people who, passed away, some people might know how it feels. But anyways, thank you all for watching slash listening. If you would like to play core yourself, you can find it over on Itch, or if you follow the creator or I think they have an official core Twitter, you can find a direct link to the visual novel through Twitter, which I will obviously post a link down for in the description. And I do believe that there is a Patreon. I don't remember. If there is, then I will also put a link down for that. And I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.